Okay, good morning, writers. So this is day 3 of our current writing project, and just to review in case you need a little recap. So Monday we talked about thinking of a topic that could help the world, and I really wanted us to focus in on an Earth Day topic. So different things we talked about in morning meeting, even on Monday for our topic day, was littering, not cutting down trees, recycling, reusing things, saving energy, pollution, all those different topics. So you're supposed to pick one of those on Monday, and hopefully you already shared that with me, and how you could help the earth. The problem is how we could help the earth. Then on Tuesday, yesterday, the whole writing lesson was about giving support and giving reasons why that's a problem and why we should fix that problem. Most importantly, why that's a problem and why do we need to fix it. And the examples I gave, remember the running in the hallway story, right? Why running in the hallway should stop, or why I think it's bad. And I had to give reasons to support that. 1, people could get hit in the head with the door swinging open. 2, I don't want any kids getting bruises and ouchies at school. 3, you might crash into other kids. So I gave all these reasons why we shouldn't run in the hallways. It's not safe. So in my story, I made sure to say, because you could get bumps and bruises, kids could crash into each other and fall down and say, ouch. So those are the reasons why I think that we shouldn't run in the hallway, and I'm using those reasons to convince you and 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 everyone in the school why we shouldn't run in the hallway. Because remember, the reasons give support to why we want to convince other people that running in the hallway is bad. I also gave a couple other examples. They were actually letters. Remember, one letter was to the teacher that the sand toys aren't being shared and why she thinks that they should be shared more and why it's affecting her at recess time, and she feels left out and she doesn't have toys to play with and she wants to set up a better system. And then another was a letter to the class actually about how the Legos aren't being put away properly, and every time they go to use the Legos there's less Legos because they're getting lost and left out and maybe swept up when the classroom's cleaned. So those were 2 other examples, and both of them gave reasons why we should stop the problem. Now, I mentioned that you don't have to write a story like my hallway running story. Those 2 students chose to write letters, a letter to the class. Dear class, we need to take care of our Legos because this, and this. Dear Tracy, Miss Tracy, dear teacher, I think we need another sand toy policy because I never get to use sand toys and I always feel left out. So they gave reasons why to convince me, to convince the class, to convince everybody why these are a problem and they need to change. I have another example. Now this one is not a letter, it's not a story or a book, it's actually a song. And a good way to write the songs is to take a tune you might already know, like our We Are Gathering song, right? We are gathering, we are gathering. It's the tune to Farah Jaka, Farah Jaka, Farah Jaka. So it just uses the same tune. So this little boy, his name is Michael. He's from a different class. He wrote the song, wash your hands, that is good for you. You do not want to get germs, so wash your hands. So he wrote a song, a little jingle, to remind people why it's so important to wash their hands. Now, did he give a reason why it's important to wash your hands? Yeah. Well, 2 reasons, actually. He said it's good for you, and you don't want to get germs. And I think we all know that germs can make you sick, right? So he's saying 2 reasons. Wash your hands, that is good for you. You do not want to get germs, so wash your hands. So that's another example of a problem. Maybe he sees in his house or in the classroom a lot of the kids are forgetting to wash their hands or are not washing their hands as much as they should be. So he made that song to share with them. So that's great. great way to share a problem too, not just in books or letters, but he did a song. So the teaching point today, what I want you to learn from this lesson number 3 on Wednesday is, today I want to teach you that opinion writers, remember this is writing our opinion, we think this is a problem. Write one thing and say, oh well. We don't just write one thing and say, oh well, I hope that helps. Not my problem, not my business. No way, Jose. Instead, we keep writing more and more to tackle the problems they've seen. They write to different people in different ways, different solutions. They offer different ideas and they keep at it. So when you're really trying to persuade people and convince people about your opinion and the problems that you see in the world for the earth, or any problems in your house or at school, you really want to keep writing about it so more people know and more people can learn about it. So here's our chart. I showed you guys this every day now. Writers write to make the world better. 1, see a problem. 2, think. 3, write a lot. So I have a couple of things to add to it. And it's going to tie into the book The Lorax, which we've already mentioned. Because the Lorax, the whole point of that story was he was trying to convince you, the readers, every person that reads that book in the whole world, the Lorax is sharing his opinion about saving the trees. That is the whole message behind that book, is he wants you to know why we should save the trees. And in that story started off by the trees all getting cut down, and then the whole nature and environment got worse and worse and worse. The air got dirty because trees clean our air. So without trees, we can't have clean air. And then the water got dirty with the sludge from the factory that was cutting down the trees. So they were cutting down trees and then creating dirty air, and then that was creating dirty water, and then the fish had to leave and the birds had to leave, and then there was no more trees. And they just left the place all dirty and gross. So the Lorax in that book is trying to convince everybody that reads it why it's so important to save trees. And I wrote a little sentence that says, we care a whole awful lot, just like the Lorax. So you need to be the Lorax. Now maybe you don't want to write about saving trees. Maybe you want to write about a different problem in the world, but that's okay. You can write a problem about saving animals, or about keeping the ocean water clean, or about global warming, how the earth is getting really hot, and how, remember about the polar bears that we learned about, how the ice caps were getting smaller and smaller, and the polar bears had to swim further and further to get to new land? We learned all about that during winter, and about how the polar bears are struggling. And then we read 365-degree penguins, remember? About the crazy uncle that mailed a penguin every single day until at the end of the year they had 365. He wasn't just mailing those penguins to be silly though, right? He was mailing those penguins to try to find them a new home, because their home in Antarctica was being destroyed, because they had less home also. So all these problems that we've talked about throughout the year are really great for us to write about and to share our opinions and convince other people. So you need to care a whole lot like the Lorax cares. So we have a new chart today, but it's a chart that we've actually already introduced. So it's not so new for you. It's a little bit of a review chart, but I thought it would be important to show you. So it says, writers can make a sign, like a poster. Writers can make a letter. So I gave a lot of letter examples. The Lego letter, the sand toy letter, sandbox toy letter. A song, like the washing your hands song. A list. Maybe you just list a bunch of reasons why. A petition. Now, petition's a little bit new. We haven't talked about that. That's where you maybe go around and ask people if they agree with your problem, and then they can sign it. It's kind of a fun one, but you need a group of people for it. So, but maybe you could do a petition at your house and see who wants to sign your petition. A book, like my hallway story is a book. You can even do a how-to book, like how to stop doing something. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, how to solve the problem in a how-to book would be a great idea too. Or even, I didn't write this one, but poetry, right? We haven't talked too much about poetry. We've read a lot of poetry, but a poem is a nice way to share a message also. Now, my Earth Day story that I mentioned the other day was about littering, right? So I did my small sketch, and it's actually on the road, and there's a lot of trash around. And I said, I think that litter on the side of the road is a big problem. When people throw trash out their car windows, it can make the outside area dirty and gross. Do you agree? Also, animals sometimes eat the trash and get sick. Oh no! So then I'm going to turn this into a how-to book. Step 1. I didn't finish yet, right? I just did my sketches and a little bit of writing. So step 1 is going to be getting the proper containers to hold trash, like a bag and a box. Step 2 is keeping the trash in your car. Instead of throwing it out your window, you make a little trash bag. Step 3 is if you make any trash in your car, maybe a wrapper from a snack or maybe a piece of paper or any sort of trash, you put this trash not out the window into nature, but you put it in that little bag that you keep in your car, a little trash bag. Step 4, when you get home, you put that trash bag from your car into the proper container. Maybe if it could be recycled, you would recycle it. If not, in the trash, depends what it is. So my problem is litter on the side of the road and how we can fix it in a how-to book. 1, get a container for your car. 2, put it in that car container. And 3, take it out when you get home. Now I wanted to show you 2 other ways to do it. So a how-to book, and I made a poster, which I think a lot of you guys will like this idea because it's a little bit more art, but I still had writing and I still had a point in it. So I wrote a big title, and on the bottom I listed 4 reasons why I think litter is bad. So it's the same topic about litter in the world and why we should fix it. So litter free is what I want to see. So I made a little fun rhyme because free and see rhyme in the E word family. So litter free is what I want to see. And I wrote see in all big, right? We talked about how sometimes writers, authors use different size fonts or all uppercase or bold if they want to emphasize that word. So litter free is what I want to see. And I put 2 exclamation points. And then I wrote, litter makes our planet dirty and smelly. Litter confuses animals, and if they eat it, they can choke or get sick. Litter wastes our natural resources, so it can make our natural areas like kind of broken and not usable. And litter is gross. So in my picture, I drew a happy earth in the middle. And then I don't know if you guys can tell, but one side of my poster is icky with trash everywhere, and look at the sky is all gray, and the flowers aren't blooming, they're all bent over, and there's like this black oil smudgy stuff everywhere. And then on this side, because this one has so much litter, I put a big red X. I don't want that. I want this side where it's the same sort of nature area, right, with the pine trees, but I have a sunny sky, big blue clouds, birds are flying, a little rabbit, a deer, and the flowers are blooming, and a lot more trees. Because if you notice here, there's some tree stumps because those are where all the trees were cut down. So now there's only 3 trees left instead of this big, beautiful forest with lots of animals and clean air. So I did one good side without litter and one icky side with litter. And that's kind of a reason also, right? Because do you want to live in this world or do you want to live in this world? I think we would all agree that we want to live in this clean, beautiful earth environment. So today, if you haven't started yet, you have your topic, Yesterday, you should have thought of your reasons why, supporting your problem, like these 4 reasons why. And today, if you haven't started yet, you can start your actual writing. So if you want to make a poster like this, or if you want to do a how-to book like Miss Tracy, or if you want to write a song, like our hand washing song, or if you want to write a letter to somebody about it, maybe a letter to me, a letter to your mom, your dad, a letter to the rabbi, a letter to a friend, a letter to anyone, or you could do a list or a petition. So those are all the different ideas, or a poem even would be awesome. So I'm excited to start seeing your writing process. And remember, I want you to work on this Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I want it done on Friday so that way I can put them all together and we can share everybody's ideas with you. So I'm going to check in tomorrow and we're going to keep the process going on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay, bye, writers.